Issue 132. Sonic shows up, much to Eggman's fear, and calls his new sidekick Adam a she multiple times after Adam says a power ring was probably involved in him arriving so soon. Then Tails says that the tornado's hacked into Eggman's computer system because it can do that now, and is told by Rotor to find the launch program. Eggman explains who Adam is, a sentient computer virus that he somehow created accidentally 9 months ago. He explains that when Sonic's friends linked to Adam, their own systems became infected by him, allowing him to control them too. Then we see Julie trying to convince Knuckles not to fight in the battle. First, she feels the need to remind him that he's not omnipotent anymore, and then she says he could get really hurt. She briefly acts like a tsundere, lashing out at him from anger, born of worry of the fact that Knuckles was being sarcastic about dying once, with Knuckles still smiling and joking around to show their close dynamic, rather than getting mad at her. And then she immediately follows it up with telling him that she's worried. Knuckles says that with the muscle he's got on their side, they'll be fine, and points to Amy, who is sitting surrounded by yellow light holding what barely recognizes her hammer in a meditating stance, and unfortunately says that she's warming up instead of actually explaining anything. Antoine's father warns them that the robots are approaching Robotropolis, and Vector gets ready to blast them with really loud stereo music, with everyone around him, including Knuckles and Julie, wearing headphones to protect their hearing. Then we see Sally warning her parents that Adam is in control of the tornado, which somehow hasn't killed Tails yet despite being able to move the plane when he's not the one steering it. Uncle Chuck looks on the bright side that now Adam's attention is split 3 ways. Eggman says in a panic that he can't stop Adam because he's got a mind of his own. I'm not sure why he's panicked about that. Wouldn't he want him to send Tails' plane to the ocean? He distracts Adam by saying a classic joke setup about the chicken crossing the road when he saves the tornado from plunging into the ocean. And after Adam and his human-looking body attack Sonic, we come back to Adam still communicating with Tails while he's attacking Sonic at the same time. Vector then complains that the robots vaporize his speakers, and Knuckles reassures him that he bought Amy Rose Hedgehog some time. I really don't like her suddenly having Hedgehog as a last name. I mean, first off, she's not related to Sonic, so why would she share his last name, even if it's probably a very common one? Rose just sounds better as a last name, why change it now? After I'm expected to believe that Amy could take on an entire army of Shadow Swap-Bots with her hammer without any getting past her enough, even though she doesn't have super speed and is just one person, Tails keeps distracting Adam with riddles, using his intellect to deal with them in a clever way. And then he panics at the Freedom Fighter Special almost hitting him, causing Patch to be yelled at for almost flying it into him. He naturally snarks about how he couldn't possibly know what's wrong with the plane, as I wonder why the king couldn't have just called up their airship and told them what's wrong. Well, why didn't they put any sort of telecommunications in there? Then Sonic gets attacked by M. Oh, so that's not Adam. Instead, Eggman intentionally designed this person. I guess neither Adam or M have distinct, memorable enough designs to make it clear to distinguish the two as separate people, and the fact that M looks like a man doesn't help. Eggman says that Adam is software, while M is hardware, as if that makes sense, as if that clarifies anything. I have a hard time believing that Sonic would be curb-stomped by M like this. Why doesn't he just spin dash into him at the speed of sound? It's like he's not even trying. He then gets thrown into the ocean, and unfortunately for Sally, she and her friends witness it through camera footage, so now there's even more reason for her to be terrified that Sonic might get himself killed adventuring. She panics and starts to cry because Sonic can't swim. Sally says in determination that she has to go to Old Megalopolis to actually do something, finally, as I finally notice that she has long hair now, which looks really nice actually. Her parents try to forbid her from charging into battle with Sonic the way she used to, so they acknowledge that she used to do it and it was fine, but still act like it's too dangerous for her. I mean, I can understand why they're doing this, especially since Sally doesn't have any special powers, so what could she possibly do out there to help? But still annoying seeing a main character obstructed like this. After Sally sadly agrees to listen to her parents, Amy gets up from her rest, which she was allowed to have, is told that her hammer wiped out almost half of the robots, and at first I thought they were being approached by a giant robot because of a shadow over them, but fortunately it's just Station Square's helicopter with Rouge nearby. And she flew all this way looking weird in this panel because I guess she just loves flying. After Eggman orders to find Sonic just in case he survived, he gets distracted by Shadow insulting him, and Sonic, after climbing out of the ocean because big surprise they remembered that he can swim, and grabbed a ladder. Well, I guess maybe he wouldn't need to swim. He got very lucky from where he was thrown into. Sonic is brainwashed by Adam? Is that what happens? That bullshit came out of nowhere. Or if not brainwashed, then whatever happened to cause him to trail off and stand still instead of just destroying him with a spin dash. The next story, at Lara Sue's unveiling, some random people I don't recognize talk about stuff I'm not invested in, including one of them being told not to embarrass the family because most of the people at the party are married, and Knuckles dancing with a woman whose biggest problem in life is the dress she's wearing, even when it's a good dress. And then Rotor with some other echidna near him, saying that due to centuries of zone jumping, the time-space continuum is on the verge of collapse for no reason. Further instances of crossover will hasten the end of existence, with Sonic's adventures toppling the dominoes. This really seems like bullshit. Why the hell would zone hopping destroy the whole multiverse all on its own? It's not like the portals stay open forever as holes in the space-time continuum. So even if that was the problem, it's still not the problem. After Rotor says he can't go back in time to change established historical events, even though Robotnik effortlessly built a time machine, he decides that he has to be off for a prior commitment before his absence would be perceived as a royal snub. Then Vector shows off with some crocodile I don't know, saying that he's such a homebody, and it turns out he really can dance after all. Finally, the pointless story of pointlessness ends with Knuckles being given a note requesting a meeting from someone he assumes is Rotor, and him telling the emissary to meet at Locke's Park in 2 hours. The first story was by Carl Bullers and involves Sonic inexplicably getting curb stomped by M the android after Adam takes over the tornado, and gets distracted by Tails telling him jokes and riddles. And Sally gets a scare that Sonic might be thrown in the water and drowned, saying inexplicably that he can't swim, but fortunately Sonic manages to be just fine grabbing the ladder that he was nowhere near, while Sally gets told to stay put and do nothing by her worried parents. Makes sense since she's got no special powers to contribute. Even Amy and Vector were more useful, with Amy taking out half an entire army of robots headed for Robotropolis all by herself. At least I assume that's what I'm expected to believe, when her having help would have been more believable since she's only one non-super speedy person. And Vector defeated some robots with some really loud speakers. The problem is that Sonic and Tails, and most glaringly an entire airship's worth of Freedom Fighters, didn't actually accomplish anything. What's the point of the Freedom Fighter special showing up if it's just gonna fly around? I hope the airship's going to try to take out Adam at least, especially since Sonic seems to be brainwashed by him, which makes no sense. I mean, the black dust around him kinda reminds me of Tikal first meeting Knuckles, I guess? So that doesn't make sense, and nor does the only important part of Penders' padding story of pointlessness. We're somehow expected to believe that the mere act of zone hopping has put the entire multiverse on the road to destruction. Yeah, I call absolute bullshit on that one. Especially since the zone cops have been zone hopping for how long? Why didn't this happen a lot sooner then? It's like the whole concept was just an ass pull for artificial conflict. If you perceive portals as being holes torn in the space-time continuum, well even then they don't stay open forever, they're just really temporary. And it's not like the space-time continuum is a human body that will die if it has holes open it for too long. It's not leaking out space-time continuum blood. So yeah, this makes no sense. It's not even mentioning the rest, which is padding, it's not even worth mentioning, because there's too much focus on characters I don't even know at all, and thus have no reason to be invested in. I mean, I can barely even discern the personalities. So yeah, not really worth talking about. It was just one long paragraph from the review. The summary complaining about it is longer. The previous story in this arc was definitely a lot better.